require nearly as much demand. They don't work longer hours. So in a lot of major metropolitan areas, it seems to be that women on average will make more than men. Like, there's an actual disparity, even though they don't work harder than those other men.
Another thing to take into consideration too, which it's kind of, to hate on myself, I guess, almost a dumb point here, but let's put it this way. Okay, how many male electricians do you know versus women? A lot more men, right?
Yeah, men predominate the trades.
And, okay, when it comes to same thing, welding, plumbing, whatever it might be, any blue-collar job is going to be predominantly men. But guess what? You get a woman in that position, she makes a fucking TikTok account. She is now not only profiting off of her job, she's also profiting off of posting videos, basically boasting about how she's a woman in that field. So she's getting profit not only from her job, she's also getting profit now from being a minority, I guess you could say, in that field.
Is that a bad thing?
So I'm basically, what I'm getting at here is women have the opportunity, yeah, if they want to work in those fields, they can work in those fields. And not only that, they're going to get more limelight off of it because of doing that. So they do have more opportunity if they really wanted to. If they wanted to go into that field, they can profit off it in so many other ways than just the daily paycheck.
I have to move it on. That's not really what we're arguing. So, I mean, here, I'll bring it back a little bit to dating. I want to go around the table. Do you think a guy should pay for the first date?
I think it kind of depends on the situation. I think it depends on who initiated the date. Like, who asked who out, you know what I mean?
More often than not, at least in your own experience, are you asking men out, or are you asking men out, or are they asking you out?
I would say more
first date.
often,
First date.
Ella donated $200. Bummed the military chick left so soon. Would love to, as her thoughts were on the statistics of promiscuity among military subculture. They are higher than civilian pop. Rematch. Would love.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe she should come on when Andrew's in person. Thank you, LR. Appreciate it. So, okay, going back to this. You said it depends. I asked, more often than not, when it comes to who you're initiating with, are you initiating first dates?
I would say majority of the time I'm the one getting asked on a first date. However, I'm not afraid to like approach a man if I'm interested in him.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah, of course I have.
Okay,
yeah.
so how many first dates would you say you've been on?
Oh, probably like rough estimate like 30, 40. I took a little bit of a break from dating just because I was really busy
Recently.
with school, and I was trying to focus more on school and like getting good grades, and I work too as a student.
Let's say it's 40 first dates that you've been on. Of those 40, how many of them did you ask the guy out?
I'd say like maybe 3 or 4, but also that being said
So
too,
10%. Okay.
I've been on first dates too where the man insists on paying, and I'm the one who
Even though you asked?
Yes, and if he insists on paying, of course I'll pull out my credit card and I'll be like, no, I'll offer. If they're like, oh, don't worry about it, I'm paying. My go-to is I'm like, no, it's okay, we can split it. And I pull out my credit card, I offer to split it, and if he keeps pushing and he's like, tells me 2 or 3 times, no, I want to pay for it, I'll let him pay for it. But after I've made that, like...
But will you only offer in the instances where you ask the guy out?
I feel like it kind of depends on like case-by-case basis. It kind of depends on like how expensive the date is, what our vibe is. But majority of the time, I will try to offer to pay 50-50. But most of the time, they'll be like, it's okay, I got it, I'll try it, and then I just put it away.
Well, your position was, you said whoever asks should pay.
Yeah, but
right?
It's also, that's what I think, but also when you're on a date, there's other factors that go into it. If not just like adhering to a strict rule when I'm going out on these situations. Like, the world's not black and white. Like, I feel like this is kind of a gray area question for me, at least. Like, that's what I believe as a general principle. But then when I'm in a situation, there might be other little factors that kind of change how I'm feeling in the moment. Does that make sense?
Sure. Okay. It's always interesting to me when people say whoever asks should pay, but it kind of ignores the fact that de facto men are overwhelmingly the initiators. So to say that, well, whoever asks should pay, you might as well just say men.
Like,
I don't know, because I've been on...
But most women are not initiating. I mean, take your own anecdotal experience. You said you've been on about 40 first dates. In only 3 or 4 of those, you were the asker. So that's 10% of the time you, 90% of the time men. So how can you argue against me on this, given your own anecdotal experience, that in 90% of all your first date experiences, men were the ones who asked you out?
Could you clarify your argument again? I just want to make sure that we're on the same page on this.
Okay, so you're pushing back. So I'm saying overwhelmingly men are the initiators. Mm-hmm. And in your own anecdotal experience, you were the initiator in only 10% of all the first dates you've ever been on. 90% of those were initiated by men. Wouldn't this be evidence enough for you to conclude that men are overwhelmingly going to be the initiators?
I would agree with your point. I would say that oftentimes it is men who are the initiators.
Right. But so don't you think it's a bit, I mean, to just say that whoever asks should pay, I think this line of reasoning would make more sense if men and women were asking each other out at comparable rates. So if it was about 50-50, I think this would make much more sense. But it sort of ignores this differential here, where if men overwhelmingly are asking women on dates, then
they automatically have to pay because they asked them out. Is that what you mean?
I mean, that's how it typically goes. Mm-hmm. That's how it typically goes. So anyways, don't really need to linger too long on that, but just always an interesting point when people say whoever asks should pay. Well, men overwhelmingly are the initiators, so kind of ignores that. But Morgan, what about you? Who do you think should pay on a first date?
I think that women should offer to split, but I mean, if a man is going to insist that he pays, then it's his choice, I guess.
Well, what if you were on a date, because sometimes it's like a token gesture. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to reach for the wallet, but then if the guy's like, oh, cool, let's split, you would feel a certain type of way. Mm-hmm. You'd be like, oh, it was just a token gesture. What are you, socially inept?
Yeah.
You should. You're not going to say that, of course, but.
Do you mind if I add something?
Like as if it was like some reverse psychology, like.
I will say, just speaking from my point, and I know we're around like similar ages. As a college student, I'm really broke. Like I am working like 2 jobs. Like I'm just trying to I'm working hard. Exactly. So like if I'm offering to split and the person who I'm also on a date with is a college student and we're offering to split and he takes me up on that, I'm in I understand what it's like to be in your shoes. I'm totally fine with splitting. But I think that's kind of like my perspective influences that. It might be different if I'm not in college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would it color your prospects of going on another date with them negatively?
No.
Okay.
I think that it wouldn't. I'd be like, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fair.
What about you? Who should pay on the first date?
I feel like should be either or, because what happens if not everybody's has money, but sometimes it would help them out, because what happens, even though despite the guy being broke, you still said yes to the date despite the financial part you didn't know beforehand. But I feel like it should be 50-50.
Has that been your experience with the first dates you've been on?
I only been on 2, but... Wait,
hold on. You've only been on 2 first dates, but you've had sexual intercourse with 21 men?
Yes.
I mean,
those were casual.
These were casual encounters.
I have only been in 2 relationships, and then there are times where someone wanted to pay for me, but I did not feel comfortable for them paying for my stuff. So I ended up paying for myself.
On the 2 dates you did go on?
On one of the casualty encounters I had, 2 dates, they both paid. And then one casual encounter wanted to pay, but I said no.
Okay. What about you?
Okay.
First date. Who should pay?
Honestly, I've always been working, and I've been the only one working for the most part in the dates that I've gone on, so I didn't have a problem paying at all.
Okay.
And so splitting is not a problem.
Well, you date men and women, right?
Yeah.
Is there a difference between those two experiences?
No, not really.
So you've always split on dates with men?
If they want to, unless if I'm offering.
Wait, but you describe yourself as your words, not mine, an LA art hoe.
Yeah.
So are you dating like LA art bros?
No.
No,
it's not like there's no, specific type. But regardless, if I'm offering to pay and I want to do something, I committed to that. I don't have a problem, and I don't look at them any less because of that. Or if they wanted to split and they offered to take me out, I'll
try to wrap this up. Okay, what about you? Here, can you look? Sorry, please, can you scoot the mic to the very edge of the table?
Yeah.
All right.
Men
You're going next.
are gonna pay.
Men should pay. Okay.
Men.
I believe men should pay, but I do often split.
And what do you think, Mason? Should men pay for first dates?
In my context, I do always pay, but I totally understand if men don't want to.
Okay. So in a very roundabout way to kind of arrive at the point and why I'm asking this question, we were talking about the wage gap. So I think ignoring all the other factors we've talked about, the fact that men work more hours, men are more likely to work dangerous jobs, men are more likely to work overtime, et cetera. There's a bunch of reasons, the different kinds of fields that men go into. I think it can actually, ignoring all those other factors, can actually just be the wage gap, since you brought it up, can actually just be explained away, not by something really on a systematic level, but at the woman's level. So this actually can just be explained away by mating pressure. So if your expectation, and again, look, some women are fine with splitting, but there are enough women at this table, let's say it's only 50% of women expect men to pay. That's a big enough of a cohort to put enough generalized mating pressure on men to be like, okay, I have to be a provider. And in addition to just paying the first date, this sort of expectation that men be providing extends well into relationships too, into marriage, having children, etc. So if the expectation is for men to be providers and to pay for first dates, this puts a mating pressure on men that doesn't exist at all in women. And so the wage gap can simply just be explained away on this sole metric. It's actually women that put pressure on men to become high achievers and to make money. Because if we don't make money and we can't provide for you, then we are at a disadvantage in the dating marketplace. And on average, women have a stronger preference than men for wealth and status in a partner. So, and this difference, it's found in all societies. And it's even found among women who are high earners themselves. The more money a woman makes, she's going to look for the man to make just as much or more money than she does. Whereas wealthy men will regularly date women who are not in their socioeconomic bracket. So I guess just to put a cap in it, the wage gap is simply explained away by women's own preference for high status and high earning men.
You may be right, but that doesn't make it like right. I don't think that pressure should necessarily be put on men either.
But it is.
Like,
You heard
no,
multiple
I know.
women at this table.
Yeah, I know it is, but
right. But we deal in reality. So if there's 50% of the female population that's like men have to pay for first dates.
So why don't
do you think what is like one of the number one motivations in life? Do you think
it's supposed to be money?
But okay.
Or mating.
But do you think mating pressure has a significant impact on the choices that we make?
I mean, yeah.
The way we dress, the way we look, we want to be appealing to the opposite sex. We want to pursue a good career so we can make a lot of money, so we can be appealing to women.
But you should want that for yourself. That's the point. Like that.
But to what end?
To what do you mean to what end?
But most like
to the end of
on a base evolutionary basis, like what's our primary goal?
I mean, I guess I'm not really thinking about that at all. I'm thinking about that like. If real equality and things like that are supposed to be achieved, you're supposed to want that for yourself. I should want to be able to provide for myself, whether a man can pay for my dinner or not. Like, I want to pay for myself and that person, because I want to show that it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to have that pressure. Like, it's an equal thing.
Okay, there are women out there who are fine with splitting the bill. That's not what I'm arguing. But there are enough women out there who would not be willing to tolerate a man going Dutch